welcome to Fruitful Counselling, the podcast, where we talk about all things mental health, counselling and therapy. So this is a bite-sized episode this week. I've had lots of different ideas about what to bring to this, but ultimately something happened last week that has made me think about the idea of healing and being healed. So that's what we're going with. We're running with that theme. So I was on the way to work. I was feeling a little bit frustrated and I had my music on, the good shouty kind, and shouting along, and I thought to myself, oh, that wasn't very healed of me. And then the cogs started turning, and I was like, well, what are we saying this means then? Because there is so much around about being healed, and if somebody does this to you, then they're an unhealed person. I don't know that we can say that about other people. I don't think in one breath we can declare that we don't know what people are going through, and then in the next breath declare that the way they treat other people is because they're unhealed. I think, yes, they can be going through something, but it feels really, I don't know, it feels a lot harsher to say that someone's unhealed. Maybe it hits differently. Maybe I'm thinking too much of this. Maybe I'm making a big deal of this. Because I've tried to think about different things, and I'm like, actually, I don't like the idea that I'm a healed version of myself. And I think of it as in, I won't have any more to learn. Well, I like the idea that I'm healing and that I'll always be in some way learning and growing and developing and gaining perspective and thinking about things differently and having, epiphanies and great moments that shine new light on things. I hope that always happens. So then I got to thinking about the physical elements of healing, and we think about wounds, and if we think about that process of a wound healing and a scab forming, but then I got to thinking, we have a scar. We always have a scar of these physical wounds that are healing, and sometimes those might itch a bit. They might need a bit of attention. They might need a bit of care. And is that what we mean when maybe we have a reaction that isn't as healed as we'd like to be, that we didn't react in exactly the way we wanted to, because something else might be playing a part in that. It might have nothing to do with what's caused the initial wound or whatever we're saying it might be. We're actually thinking, well, it's just that itch. It's just, we just lost perspective for a minute, and maybe the scars and those wounds will always be there in some way. Now I'm talking about this, I'm thinking maybe I'm making a big deal out of this. Maybe it's nothing. But I do keep seeing advertisements for things like, take yourself away for 3 months and come back healed. Well, that's not where the test is it? If I'm on my own for 3 months doing the work, I've not had a test in that time on my own in isolation where someone's challenged me or someone's thrown a curveball and thrown something my way that I've not dealt with before. So I've had to draw on other things in my life, but come up with a better solution, because I'm trying to bring that perspective and take a minute and take stock. But can we do that in isolation? I don't believe we can. I think we have to be out there in the world, facing things, facing whatever that might be. If it is a bit of conflict, if it is a bit of uncertainty, if it is a lack of control, if we're not facing those things in those moments when we're trying to heal, then we're not going to know if it's having an effect. I'm not saying don't go away and do the work. I'm just not liking this idea of that we need to go and have no experiences in life to achieve that. So if we're going away for 3 months, we're not going to experience much, I'm guessing. That's my feeling. I don't know what they look like because I haven't looked into them, because it doesn't appeal to me. So maybe this is too slapdash. And what I've just read, believe it or not, I do a bit of research for these. I've got a lot of therapy books and I've tried to find an aspect of healing in them, and I haven't been able to. I have found that there's a lot of titles, like becoming whole again, becoming a person. Those kind of allude to that healing, don't they? Becoming something else from where you were. And I like that idea. It comes back to that growth and that, growth. Becoming something different or more or whatever than it was, different to what we were before, whatever that may be. But there's no healing per se. What I did come across, and I'm frustrated because I can see it on my bookshelf, but I've not remembered it. And I cannot read it from this far away. And I didn't realise what it was, so I picked it up, and I didn't realise that it's little stories of people who've been affected by mental health. And I just went to a story called The Mother. And this mum lost her son in a really horrific way. And if we're talking about wounds and healings, I know parents that have lost their children, and that healing doesn't turn into healed. It is a scar, and not a small one. And it's not just a little scratch. It's a big, heavy weight that a parent has to carry once they've lost a child. So this got my mind racing even more about this idea of healing, or being healed, because I like healing. And I like the fact that it does have connotations of the physical side of it, because we can separate mental health in such a big way from our bodies that we forget how to impact it physically, and how positive we can, the positive impacts we can have on our mental health through the physical elements, through your gut health, through putting the right things in your body, not misusing substances, not drinking too much alcohol, not having too many takeaways, and then we've talked loads about fitness on this podcast, and I'm going to continue talking about it. Lots of guests have had a massive journey with fitness, who are coming on, and I find that really inspiring, and I hope that you do too as the listeners, and you can connect those dots, and it has a positive impact on some way. But I don't know that a wound of losing a child is ever fully healed, that the gap there will ever be closed. And now maybe I'm turning this into something else. But again, I think it's important to acknowledge that this journey of life is not like this. It's not a nice straight line. It's not nice and neat. We can't colour in the lines in exact, in the perfect way that we maybe want to. Life is this. It's that. It's not. I hope you enjoyed all my noises there. It can't be a straight line. That's not how we learn. It's not how we grow. It's not where the perspective is. It's not where the learning is. It's in the how we get back up, how we show up for ourselves and for other people, for our families, in our lives. It's in all of those. It's in the setbacks. So we can't expect, taking this example again, to go away for 3 months and then come out and be healed and have no further tribulations. it's just doesn't feel really realistic for me. And when I'm talking about the up and downs, and that's where the learning is, that's where the growth is, that is what life is about. So we're going to go over this hill, we're going to come down, and we're going to be healed from whatever this hill was. Yeah, okay, so then it's a flat line. No, that's not life. Again, it doesn't exist like that. We then have something else, and it might go down or it might go backwards, and then we'll heal from that, and then we'll move forwards. And not everything needs healing from. Healing is the theme, but it's the idea that once we've got through that one thing, you're done. You've ticked the box. You've smashed it. Nailed it. You have completed it. No, it's not a workbook. It's not a worksheet, which I'm sure the 3 months comes with a free worksheet. Sorry, I feel nasty on these programs now. But I'm not ever going to advocate for taking yourself away from everything that potentially brings you joy, to believe that you may be healed. And then you'll probably come out of that 3 months, 1, a bit blinded by the sun, and 2, you'll be faced by something, and it's really nice to think that we'll handle it in the perfect way. But then what happens if we don't? What happens if actually you do all that work? Do you then beat yourself up if you don't deal with things the way that you were meant to? How does that work? How do we then tackle what comes next? What does that look like? And I can't answer any of these because I don't know. Because I truly do think that the learning is in the doing and the being and the getting out there and finding out. There is that, the idea, the more you mess about, the more you find out. Still try not to swear on the podcast. And it is, spread your wings and have a try and learn along the way and handle things in an imperfect way, and then afterwards go, I'm not going to do that again because I didn't like the way it felt. So then you carry on and you do it differently next time and you learn from it. And in between that, as I have been vocal about, the voice in my head when that happens isn't that nice, but it's about me going, well, no one died, we're all right, we're going to learn from it. And I'm getting so much better at that. And it's impacted, particularly for females, by hormones and things like that. I'm not going to go into hormones right now. But yeah, I don't like the idea that we are suggesting that being healed means that 1, we're the complete package and we've absolutely smashed it, and 2, that there's nothing left to learn. I want to grow from things. Don't get me wrong, I don't want there to be ups and downs the whole way. I'd like a little bit of a straight line, and that will happen. That's normal life. But it's acknowledging that it's a journey and the roads can be bumpy. I remember once saying to my dad that I just couldn't wait for uni to end. This was obviously so long ago. And he was like, people say that and then they forget about the journey. And it was just, and then what after uni? The big bad world. And when I started doing adult education, I really understood that and valued the journey that I was on when I was retraining to be a counsellor. And that actually being in that room, retraining, I was with so many like-minded people that actually it was such an amazing space to be in, week out. And I tried to never take that for granted. So yeah, let's think about the journey. It's okay that the journey might not look perfect or the way we think it's going to look. And at the end that we don't feel like a finished product or we don't feel healed. But I think as long as we're learning and we're growing, then what more can we ask for? Isn't that the goal? I feel like that's the goal. Maybe that's my goal. Yeah. So I went to get the book off the shelf, and it's called This Book Will Change Your Mind About Mental Health, and it's Nathan Filer. Filer? Judging by the label on the back, it's a cheeky TK Maxx special, but it's a heavy one by the reading of a few pages. But yeah, It's debunking myths and challenges and assumptions, and offers fresh insight into what it means to be mentally ill and what it means to be human. I think we forget it's part and parcel of being human sometimes. So yeah, bit of an ad hoc one this week. Please share, like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends about it. And if you want to come on or you've thought about therapy, please remember we do have a free 15-minute consultation. Email inquiries@fruitfulcounselling.com and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for listening.